Today, we're jumping into a pretty big social trend, why it seems like some American men are hitting the brakes on getting married. We're going to break down a perspective that says the reasons might have a whole lot more to do with money than with romance.
So here's the big question we're tackling. You hear a lot of theories thrown around, right? But what if the answer isn't just about commitment issues or changing attitudes? What if it's really about risk?
Okay, let's just get this number out there right from the start. According to the source material for this explainer, the divorce rate in the US is hanging out right around 50%. So from this point of view, getting married kind of starts to look less like a sure thing and a lot more like a coin toss.
In that statistical reality, well, it sets the stage for our first section here, a puzzling trend.
The data doesn't lie. Fewer men are getting married, and the ones who do are waiting longer. It's a major shift in our society, and it's got a lot of people scratching their heads, trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
So what's the story you usually hear? Well, that brings us right to Section 2, the simple narrative. Yep, this is the one you've probably heard a million times. The idea that men are just trying to dodge responsibility, That they're more interested in living the bachelor life than settling down. It's a very simple, very neat explanation. But hold on, is it really that simple? Can a massive social trend like this, one that affects millions of people, really just be chalked up to a collective personality flaw? The source we're looking at today says, not so fast. We gotta dig a whole lot deeper. And I love this analogy from the source. Saying men have just gotten lazy is like saying a plane crashed because it just didn't feel like flying. It completely ignores all the complex stuff happening under the hood. The engine failure, the bad weather, the system malfunctions. It misses the real reason, the why.
So, what are those underlying mechanics? Let's get into it with our third section, a high-risk venture.
Okay, so here's the key thing to understand from this point of view. The hesitation isn't just about the fear of a broken heart. It's about the absolutely staggering financial hit that can come with a divorce. And this is where things get really interesting. It kind of reframes the whole idea of what marriage is. From this angle, it stops being just this emotional, spiritual thing and also becomes a high-stakes financial deal where you could literally lose half of everything you've ever worked for. Think about it like an investment, right? Normally, in finance, you take on a bigger risk because you're hoping for a bigger reward. But here's the catch. According to this viewpoint, the modern marriage equation is different. The risk is massive. We're talking your house, your life savings, but the return, totally unguaranteed. That whole risk-reward balance just feels broken. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, aren't there ways to protect yourself from all that risk? And that's exactly what our next section is about, the ironclad contract.
Right away, what pops into your head? A prenup, of course. It's a legal document designed for this exact purpose, to lay out the financial rules of the road if things go south. On paper, it sounds like the perfect fix.
But, and this is a huge but, the source has this great line for it. It calls a prenup a paper umbrella in a storm. Why? Because it's not always the bulletproof shield people think it is. Prenups get challenged in court all the time, and a judge can just decide to throw it out if they think it's unfair. And just like that, you're right back where you started. And it doesn't stop with just dividing up what you already have. You've got these long-term commitments, too. The source uses the term subscription contract to describe child support. Think about that. A subscription you might be paying for 20 years, even if the marriage itself only lasted a couple. It's another massive financial factor to weigh. So, let's put it all together. You've got a 50-50 chance of divorce, huge financial risks, and legal protections that aren't guaranteed. What does that all add up to? Well, that's our final section, the calculated pause. And this right here is really the heart of the argument. What we're seeing isn't necessarily a total rejection of marriage. It's not that men are saying no to marriage forever. It's that they're saying, whoa, let's slow down and really, really think about this. It's caution. The source uses this perfect metaphor. Imagine a man standing at the edge of a swimming pool in the dead of winter. He's not just turning his back and walking away. No, he's looking at the water, he's thinking, he's testing the temperature. He's doing his due diligence and carefully weighing the consequences before he even thinks about jumping in. So, just to be super clear on what this perspective is saying, the problem isn't a fundamental lack of desire to find a partner and build a family. It's that the old way of looking at it, the traditional marriage is half of one's faith idea, is now clashing head-on with a new, very real, very pragmatic calculation. Marriage might cost you half your house. And that really leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on, doesn't it?
Has the definition of marriage itself started to change? Is it still mainly an emotional partnership, or has it turned into something more like a financial contract? Or maybe the most likely answer, is it now this really complex, sometimes confusing, mix of both? A lot to think about. Thanks for tuning in.